Hey, it's been a while. I picked up a new camera recently. This is the Sony A5100. How well does it hold up in 2019? So the A5100 is the very bottom tier of Sony's interchangeable lens cameras, and it is the cheapest. Normally it goes for around $500, I'm pretty sure, and it's a fantastic camera to start getting into the Sony ecosystem, and it's pretty powerful paired with the right lens. And the good thing about this camera for me is that I can take my lenses that I use right now, the lens I'm using right now, the 28-75, and I can put that on this camera, and now suddenly it's a real camera. Because with this little lens right here, this is the kit lens, it's not much. So you're definitely gonna wanna get a better lens. Go get a prime lens that's like a 1.8 or something like that, and that's gonna unlock this camera just a little bit, because the low light performance isn't quite up to par with like the 6400. So some things to look at. Yes, it has a little flip screen. It is quite a good little vlogging camera. However, it doesn't have a microphone input. So you're relying on the inboard audio, which isn't really the best of things. That's probably the one thing I wish this camera did have, was a mic input. Now there's a whole bunch of other stuff that separates this camera from the A6400, and my purpose of getting this was just as a second camera and something I can use during these YouTube videos to show off my A6400. So in that case, it's all right, but if you were to use this more professionally and more of like as your main camera, there are a whole bunch of drawbacks. For example, something that frustrates me is the lack of programmable buttons. So if you look here on the back, all you have is that dial, and that's it. I mean, you have the little question mark delete trash can button thing. I mean, that's it. You have 6 programmable buttons, and 2 of them you can't even program. I use my buttons all the time on the 6400. I'm able to switch through a whole bunch of things. When you look on that, there are so many programmable buttons that I just feel complete. So that is something that would definitely help me out a whole bunch more. Looking inside the camera, you don't have any picture profiles. Not something that I am surprised of, because like the A6000 doesn't have any picture profiles. I think you have to get to the A6300 before you start getting stuff like that, but that does limit the camera just a little bit. Even with the A6400, without using any of the picture profiles, it's not the same camera. It's not. You're not getting the same image without using like Cine 2 or HLG or something of the sort. If you just use the base standard what comes on the camera, the very basic, if you just use the default picture profile, it's just not the same. Your images are gonna look terrible. That's kind of what happens with this camera. I have everything as low as possible. The contrast, the saturation, the sharpness, I have that all set as low as possible in an effort to make this footage a little bit more usable. So the programmable buttons and the lack of picture profiles is a very big drawback for me, but I got this camera for $150. So at that price point, I really can't complain. I got such a good deal because both of my doors right here are ripped off, which I mean, I guess it kind of sucks, but it's whatever. The camera still works perfectly fine. Another issue that I did run into though is overheating. I don't know if it's because I have the small rig cage on it or what the issue is, but it seemed like this camera couldn't record more than 10 minutes with the last event I brought it to. So that is something you might want to consider. My A6400 was running the entire night completely fine, and this kept turning off. All in all, does this camera have a place in 2019? Well, I mean, depending on your budget, yeah. If this is your first camera, 100% yes. If you can find it for as good of a deal as I did, pick it up immediately. Lenses are the most important thing, so having the ability to throw any Sony lens onto this thing is amazing. You can throw the G Master lenses on here, and now your footage is gonna look really good. So your lenses really open up the capabilities of this camera. It is limited in the features, but I think it holds a place somewhere in 2019. So that's all I have for you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the video just a little bit. I'm trying my best to post as regularly as possible. I'm trying to do a whole bunch of stuff and start my own career, and I'm gonna be bringing you guys along the way doing that. So hopefully we will see you next week. I'm gonna try my best, and be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what you think of the A5100 in the comments below. That's all I have for you guys. Yeah? Yeah.